the word is misleading because ascension implies a movement up, out, higher, etc. And what I would suggest and maybe even advocate for is that it's an inward movement into more connection with self, more connection with personal experience, more present, like more right here, right now. And then all of the things that proceed from that. So the phrase that came to me when I was reflecting on today's topic, and sorry if I'm holding forth so much, but this is really what I've been with very steadily. The phrase is stay human.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Coach's Ascension podcast. I'm Grace Kelpis, and today I'm so excited because Kevin Selig is back with us. This episode is a little different because we're doing something I've realized I need to do more of. Slow down and find the words I use, especially the woo-woo ones, especially the word ascension. Because if I'm going to build a whole podcast Patreon community around that word, I want to be responsible with it. I want it to mean something real, something you can actually live. Kevin is the perfect person for this conversation because he's spent years in deep spiritual study and practice, and he has a strong science background, and he is not afraid to call out spiritual jargon when it's being used to bypass, confuse, or manipulate. So in this episode, we unpack what ascension is, what it is not, and why the invitation right now isn't to rise above the world, but to move inward and stay human. All right, let's get into it. Okay, hi, Kevin.
Hey there, Grace.
It's good to have you back with us. I'm excited to have another conversation about some things that we need to start talking about more on this planet.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So we agreed to talk about ascension and what the heck that means, and maybe what some of these woo-woo words mean that you may hear get thrown around from me in particular. I think I definitely take for granted that people know what I'm talking about, and I was thinking this past week I really need to start being responsible for that, and really, even for myself, start to identify, what am I talking about? What does it mean, and what does it look like practically on the ground? So you were just the first person that came to mind to have this conversation, and really the best person to have this conversation with. So I'm super excited to be here. And you've been here with us before. So one of our very first podcast episodes, we had Kevin on. But just as a reintroduction, do you mind just giving like 30 seconds about you?
I have no idea what to say about myself. I mean, in the context of this conversation, I would say I've spent a great deal of time with every manner of alternative modality in terms of healing, consciousness, spiritual practice, on and on, coaching, you name it. And I also was pre-med in college, so I have a very solid science background. And so it became clear to the topic that you're beginning for us to speak on today. It became clear to me very early that there's way too much sort of opaque or complicated vocabulary used for all kinds of things, and that we need to land at clear understanding of terms. So sort of not a reductionism, but a scientific dismantling of the like flowery, consciousness-oriented language that the New Age has propounded globally for a while now, to some extent to people's benefit, and in many ways to people's detriment. I would say the vocabulary becomes a way of gatekeeping things, a way of confusing people, a way of manipulating people. And then it also becomes a way for us to not, as you were pointing to, not necessarily know exactly what we're up to ourselves. Yeah, because we have these words that we just use habitually and think that we understand and assume everyone else does.
Yeah.
So I'm, as you know, kind of like no bullshit type of personality, especially in the world of spiritual and healing type of things, because this is a world that I naturally occupy. It's my vocation to occupy, but a world with which I have a great deal of frustration around
Mm.
this kind of thing. Yeah.
Around this sort of dissonance between language and experience.
Language and experience, using language in ways which is not in service of the things it's meant to serve, and that's the concepts and experiences and the people, right?
Mm.
The vocabulary is frequently a disservice to the entire picture. And so I really like to get at the essence of things where possible. And
And
in my
thus is a reason why I picked you.
yes, like you said at the beginning. And
Yeah.
when I was living and studying with my Buddhist teacher, because I spent about 7 years in full-time study and practice of the Nyingmapa lineage with a Tibetan Buddhist teacher. One insistence that he had from the beginning was that we be able to discuss and share and examine any concept, no matter how esoteric, not using any of the foreign words. Like how do all these things intersect with plain English?
Yeah.
And that was for me like a great, I mean, it fit who I am anyway, but also it was just a great exercise.
I
Yeah.
love this. This is perfect. Perfect. I think that's going to be such a great exploration here because you had mentioned when I invited you to be my guest today, you had mentioned um you asked me how I would define ascension, and I'm picking that word because that's the word I'm using in my Patreon and in this podcast, and so like, hey, that's a good one to start with. And you had
Mhm.
asked me what I thought, and when I explained that to you, you said, "Oh, okay, good." I had a completely different thought of it when I first started, and so can you go there and just share like how that all unloaded for you?
How ascension, what the word is for me. Okay, so
Yeah,
historic,
yeah, what it means.
I have a quite negative association with it. First of all, I mean, just to be totally plain and clear about it, because I was living out in the mountains during the time I was working with my Buddhist master, um, and this wave of ascension work swept the community that I lived in, and it was a whole bunch of airy fairy jargon and people, from what I could see, essentially um, doing a whole lot of spiritual bypassing. And it was a reinterpretation of the Christian view of heaven and hell, if I put it bluntly. That like we can go to heaven, like we can just be above it all, ascend. We can be above the fray, you know. And this
Mm.
means often dissociation, spiritual bypassing, um, you know, disowning our emotions, disowning our experience, all that. And so when I first saw the word, when you wrote it, I was like, here we go. and, 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 and that's why I asked you the question, because I was like, I could really come into this podcast like guns blazing, you know, and 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 yet I intuited that that's probably not what you meant by the word, which is why I asked you. And so for me, I would say ascension at its best is an inward movement. So
Mhm.
the word is misleading because ascension implies a movement up, out, higher, etc. And what I would suggest and maybe even advocate for is that it's an inward movement. into more connection with self, more connection with personal experience, more present, like more right here, right now. And then all of the things that proceed from that. And the first thing to mind in that regard is my relationships. Yeah. With people,
Yeah.
with reality, with the phenomenal world. But it's about being more here. Ascension isn't like that. It's like actually inward, not down
Yeah.
necessarily, inward.
Inward. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you there. I think when I picked the word for this podcast and for the work with on Patreon,
Mm.
my I think I was going for this sort of idea of moving our awareness. You can definitely can say inward.
Mhm.
Um, I think my view has been it's both. Like inward is outward, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
It's
And
mhm.
yeah, it's like
Understand.
cleaning up. The inward for me is like how clear of a space am I to be experiencing all that is right now in my body here. Like
Mhm.
if I'm really fully present, like
Mhm.
every sense, including those I don't even know about, is like on high reception.
Mhm.
Like I'm picking up everything like I'm just a big antenna for the energy happening in the space. And if you take away the density, right? Like this is a computer, this is a phone, this is me. If you take away the density and you are with just the energetic being of something, it has a frequency, it has a vibrational quality to it. And if you are able to rest with all of the different frequencies that are around you, you can pick up so much. And I think that really comes from spending, 10 solid years doing transcendental meditation twice a day. And like, it just takes, there's nothing you can do to speed it up. Unfortunately, it just takes
Yeah.
sitting and sitting and sitting and sitting. And then there's this sort of gradual, um, insidious shift that happens. And I only noticed it like when I was sitting once in a camp where I was the camp nurse, and it was early in the morning, and I was doing my sitting, and I'm sitting, and I'm just like, just being with stuff I wasn't even thinking, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, somebody's gonna knock on the door," and then I like kind of gave me just enough warning to like come back into like the space of, "Hey, I'm a human sitting on this bed, and I need to go answer the door."
Yeah.
And yeah, and then someone knocked on the door, and it's like that ability to feel the change in the
Mhm.
atmosphere, so to speak. So I'll stop
Mm.
there, but
No,
what's your
it's great.
response to that?
I mean, the key word you used there was, for me, was vibration, because this is the other thing that ascension often implies. Like one is sort of this transcendence and departure, and then the other is a higher vibrational rate, whatever the hell this means, right? But this is,
Mhm.
like, more yogi talk. Um, and um, and I don't think that it's about like raising our vibration. I think it's about quieting ourselves and actually being able to move into the perceptive space you're describing, where the more that I'm here, the more all of my senses are heightened. But it's vital that our locus remains here, centralized, right? Like we are in the world, as you pointed out with your
Mhm.
illustration. And that never stops until you're dead, right? Like
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
that's the deal, right? This is where we are. This is what we have to work with. And so the vibrational rate piece, um, I think that we can become aware, attuned to, more connected to, let's say, I mean, I hate the phrase, but the higher frequencies. But see, I don't even like this verbiage. I would say more subtle. It's not higher. It's not like more exalted, more spiritual, faster, all that stuff. This higher frequency idea. To me, this just means that we have a more a more subtle attunement to what's happening. And the more subtly we're attuned to things, the more we perceive, the better we can process the information that's coming in, the better we can valence it, give it weight within our own experience. And so, in working with clients, certainly this is super important. Like the more here we are, the more we're with them by definition, and the more we can pick up. That's not just nonverbal, but like, maybe non-conceptual entirely. It's literally energetic and vibratory. So again, to me, like ascension in this regard isn't like faster, higher, better. It's more subtle, more inward, more here.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like more here. It makes when you talk about working with clients, it makes me so I've had and I'm sure you have too, but you can tell your stories as well. Experiences of just being, I don't know, you become the same as the other person,
Yeah.
like a mirror of a one being having two different experiences, and you get the opportunity to experience
Yeah.
the other person's experience, albeit briefly.
Mhm.
And it's so interesting. So I did a lot of work with mushrooms early on in my life, and have taken a few close people on journeys, and my work as leading that was not only to hold the space, but to watch where they're going. So, like, I can see them do the rabbit hole, and I'm like holding space for them to come back out of the rabbit hole and they go down another rabbit hole. And, if they've had enough, eventually they realize that I'm talking to them in their head and then they look at me and I'm like, yes. And then they land, and all of a sudden it's this complete presence here instead of down the mind trap rabbit holes, which can be
Yes.
useful, but
It can be insight generating to take those rabbit hole journeys for sure. And what I would
Mhm.
say each of those rabbit holes typically is an illustration of the ways in which we're not here,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So we take the journey away from here to see what it is that keeps us from being here. And then you notice that they pop back, right? They land here,
They pop
right?
back, yeah,
Yeah.
mhm.
And in my experience, sitting for people with medicine, this is deeply familiar. Um,
Mm,
and the way you're talking about with clients, like it's like, oh, it's another me, or I'm another them. And this is an explicit meditative practice in some forms of Buddhism, where like you literally take on another viewpoint that wholeheartedly, right? It's way past the walk a mile in another man's shoes. It's very literal, right?
yeah,
And and what I think you're pointing to there, the way that I hear it, is the notion of non-separation, right? It's simultaneity, because the more here we are, the less all of the barriers can persist. And as barriers dissipate, we become much closer. We become, in fact, non-separate, which is the fact of things to begin with. It's just that we introduce so many illusions to keep this from being the case, because it's too fundamentally threatening to our ego structure and our priorities, usually me above anyone and anything else. That's the priority, right? That's the base setting. And,
yeah,
and the non-separation part, that's where everything becomes possible. But it's also, um, terrifying, because if there is no separation and we are that connected, how do I proceed in light of it? Which is again where a lot of Buddhist training in particular is very useful, because it takes this fundamental truth, capital T, into account. Like, this is the truth. This is really how it is, right? When we're
Yeah.
not absorbed in our, entrainment into a million things that go right back to our formation of language and concept when we're little. And then all the structures that get built around that and the belief systems that emerge from it. That's what we're swimming in.
Yeah. Each of us is a rabbit hole. There are moments where we come back. And usually those are traumatic. Like something traumatic has to like shake you back
Yeah,
into the moment.
exactly. And it's so much
Yeah.
nicer if we can voluntarily make that a familiar path that we tread, and then even a familiar place to dwell. I mean, that's what practice for me has really been largely about. And
Yeah.
and so um at this point it's becoming, in my experience, we were speaking before we went on to camera here a bit about sort of like the reality that we're occupying individually and together right now in this world, astrologically and everything else. And if one becomes more present and starts picking up on these vibrations at a more and more subtle level, it can be very overwhelming, which is part of why people don't like to do it or start and stop. And right now, I think that we're in this collective anticipatory anxiety. The whole world is changing faster than it ever has. And everyone can feel like you knew that someone was coming to the door. Everyone can feel, holy shit, that it is on now,
Mhm.
really on. And everyone's thought this way throughout history. Oh, this time is different from all the others, etc. In my opinion and in my experience, this time is different. Like, we are truly turning now as a species, as a civilization, in a way that we never have. And this isn't end of days stuff or, you know, God is moving things around. Like, we're doing it. Humans, again, the here and now. We are creating the things that are accelerating the process and then having to live with the results of the acceleration.
Mhm.
And whether you're tuned into it consciously or not, it's affecting everything. Everything's on boil everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
And and that's why I think the ascension, as I understand it, is becoming even more essential to not just our well-being, but our survival, right? That the inward movement must occur. Like, it's the only way to stay somewhat oriented. And
Yeah.
and so the phrase that came to me when I was reflecting on the today's topic, and sorry if I'm holding forth so much, but this is really what I've been with very steadily. The phrase is stay human.
Yeah.
Stay human. It may sound absurdly easy or absurdly simple, but it's a tall order at this point.
The podcast I just released last week, the title is Light in Chaos: How to Stay Human When Reality Fractures.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
there you have it. Like, we haven't spoken in months. I didn't know that. Um, there is, and we're not like reading the same sources of information. I'm living on the other side of the planet from you. Like, it's on. Like,
Yeah.
this is a collective experience right now. It really is.
And I do feel that for folks that have spent a great deal of their life, as you say, like in it,
Mm.
like we're in the work, we're doing the practices of going inward and then coming outward and then going inward and then coming outward and like clearing. I feel like this was the time we were meant for to help others begin to learn how to do that.
Yep.
It's not like you should learn it in kindergarten, honestly, but we don't. We
Yep.
probably know it in kindergarten and then it's learned out of us.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. but to help others have the opportunity to find themselves in space, because as it all breaks and all the expectations we've ever had to predict our lives are now breaking,
Yes.
things that we thought could never happen. And I'm not talking just about technology, like we've had sci-fi for that. We've gotten the images of possibilities. I'm talking about, the things that are just so amoral being so regular, and
Yeah.
things you just never thought would be the norm have become the norm. It's just mind-blowing, and, yeah,
Yes.
I think in the last episode, I said I'm totally willing to take on that this may be a coping mechanism, but, it's a be talking about this stuff and to be, um, in a way brought to life by it, but I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. Like, if that's the way that I'm gonna be in the world that is, doing its thing, I'm okay with sitting in a place that's like, "This is okay. This needs to happen," "This is where we're going. We're breaking so we can see who we are."
Yes. I think this is fundamentally what it's about, um, if it's about anything at all. And,
Mhm.
right? And, when I was 23, I hitchhiked around a lot of the United States and I landed in Berkeley for the first time, you know. Ooh, Berkeley, the aura of everything cool and advanced and interesting and progressive. And, this is like early 90s, right? And, I went to, I think it's Telegraph. It's like whatever, the main street, the main drag that's like legendary in Berkeley. And, walking down the street and there's a dude sitting there, looks a little bit like a wizard, right? Like, so I was like, "Oh god, here we go." And he's sitting at his table with his tarot cards, and I was like, "I'm curious." And I went up to him and, was like, "Oh, how long have you been here?" He's like, since whatever year it was, like 65, right? So he's been there for decades. And I was like, wow, you must have seen so much change in this period of time in this legendary place. And he looked at me, he got very still and looked at me and he said, nothing's changed.
It's the same story over and over and over again.
and and I was like, what do you mean? And he said, nothing's changed. Like for the last 2,000 years, 3,000 years, it's the same shit. And 23-year-old me is like, like ding, like that's
Mhm.
true. Like I've studied already a lot of philosophy, psychology, neuroscience. I was an early adopter for all the things that are like de rigueur now. And nothing's changed. And so when you talk about like the immoral becoming normalized, right? And things being revealed, I don't think anything's changed. And at a fundamental level, if you talk with people who are like, all a Twitter and agog about the outrage that's unfolding in their media driven reality, how has your life changed?
Mhm.
It hasn't. You're getting up in the morning, taking a piss, making your coffee, hanging out with your loved one, petting your dog, putting your shoes on. Not a
Yeah.
thing has changed. All the outrage and the immorality and the riots and fire and blah, blah, blah is theater. Nothing's changed. And the immorality that we're looking at, to me, I'm actually appreciating this because the veil's been pulled down.
Mhm.
Like, at the risk of like upsetting people with political discussion, the current regime is in no significant way different from the previous ones.
It's just visible, it's
It's just
transparent.
visible. We've gone
Yeah.
to war over nothing. In fact, we've gone to war over worse things than we're looking at now,
Mhm.
right? We've had Democrats execute people in other countries and disappear their bodies. drone strikes, all of it. Like the Democrats and the Republicans, as Amiri Baraka said to me again when I was 23, this black radical who was in the bookstore that I was working in doing a book signing, 1992. What do you think of the upcoming election? And he looked at me and he said, right wing, left wing, two wings of the same vampire bat.
No. Yeah.
Right? So actually, I think nothing's changed. I'm not outraged at all. I'm appreciating that there's something like transparency actually happening, like the pretense is down. Sorry if I'm off like your followers and everything else, but this is how it really looks to me. I think things are actually, oddly enough, through the dishonesty, we're getting more honest.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, like at a fundamental level. And on the same topic, like all of the fears that we have about AI and all this stuff, you know what we're actually afraid of? Ourselves. What created AI?
Mm-hmm.
Us. What's it trained on? Us. So in other words, we're afraid of ourselves collectively. We're making this thing, and you know what we're most afraid of is that it'll behave like us because we're assholes.
So good.
Oh my God, it's gonna run amok and kill humanity. What the are we doing every day? We're killing each other. Oh, it'll poison the environment. Whoa, that's never happened before, you know? It's gonna
Yeah.
exploit human labor. Well, that's what we've been up to since we existed. There's no change here. There's no change whatsoever. None. And for me, this is like even though I'm like animated saying this and I'm passionate about it, it's actually like a relaxing and calming perspective because
Mm-hmm.
that hole you're talking about, almost everybody is living in a rabbit hole all the time. And I'm in it more than I like, but I'm cycling in and out like we talked about before. But when I
Yeah.
really like sit down cold and hard and look at what's going on, this is all I see is us really disliking our own behavior that we've disowned and are projecting onto our leaders who are different this time when they're not a bit different from how they've ever been
Mm-hmm.
anywhere, ever. It's the same. It's the same game playing out. This is samsara. This is the Buddhist cycle, right? It's illusion
Mm-hmm.
and it's playing out in exactly the same ways by the same mechanisms over and over.
And why going inward, as more and more people learn to go inward and start to be with themselves,
Hmm.
being willing to I remember when I first started really doing this work, I was, I don't know, 19, and participated in the Landmark Forum. And if, for those of you who do, it used to be asked.
Plenty to talk about
So
that.
yeah, I don't necessarily advocate all of their courses, but the Landmark Forum is significantly consistent in creating breakthroughs and people actually experiencing their real, true, with a capital T, self for a brief moment. And that's often enough to knock people out of illusion long enough to see that something else is possible with humanity.
Yeah.
And when I had that experience, which was after mushrooms, so I sat pretty much on the edge of my seat the entire program, like, yes, I know. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. Keep going. Keep going. You're almost there. You know, I don't even know where I'm going with this. Oh, there's this like, whether it's like a solid dose of mushrooms or the Landmark Forum or whatever it is, when you quote get it,
Mm.
the capital T truth,
Mm.
there's this moment, at least for me, there was this moment of like hilarity. Like the whole damn thing is so funny.
It's absurd. It's
Yeah.
absurd.
It's literally like, the world is a stage and we are but the players, and here we are, and once you sit in the audience for a hot minute and you're like, "Oh, holy, I could just walk out of the theater, like, I don't need to engage in this," and I can, and neither one matters. This is like this cosmic joke to the whole thing.
One is the only thing that matters. Like when people are, oh, it's a collective change. None of that shit happens without the individuals. Like it is us. It's up to us. This is really, really, really the thing. And it's like the most horrible possible truth. We are responsible.
Yeah,
Like, it's to us
it's
individually.
terrifying and all of that, but, that's what I guess the point I was getting is when I stepped into Landmark Farm, I was like, "Oh my god, like, what if I find out I'm a horrible person?" And the very first day, and like the very first 2 hours, they're like, "Okay, so come up here and tell us, like, what are the things that you're afraid of this weekend?" And I was like, "I'm afraid I'm gonna be a horrible person." "Okay." They're like, "Great, sit down." You know? You know, we have this huge, like, crazy fear about finding out, we're
Yeah.
horrible, and the reality is you go through that, and that's the thing that's horrible is the fear of being something,
Mm,
that you think is, like, so awful, but when you
yeah.
really get past that, all there is this, like, immense and I wanna define something else here too, is love.
Mm,
And aside from the fact that languages have like English has one word for love and other languages have like 50 words for love. And aside from those differences that are significant, love to me, all it is the feeling of like all that is. It is us as consciousness. So when we're in love and we're feeling that feeling, you can point at things and say, that makes me feel love, that makes me feel love, or I'm love. But the reality is we're just sitting in who we are. And that's
yes.
what it feels like. And when you get past all that, I'm horrible and all those fears, that's what you sit in. And if
Mm,
the whole world was able to go inward and just sit in who we really are, I feel like everyone would just drop what they were doing and be like, get the
mm,
joke,
yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
the next thing is cleaning up the environment and getting everybody housed and fed and because you are me and I am you.
If that can be done, yes. I mean, so landmark forum, that's like a whole discussion into itself. I
I
think
know,
it's
I know.
no, no,
We'll
no,
leave that out.
no, no, no. But I want to touch on it because it actually is the intersection of a lot of these things. So it is great at with a high rate of probability getting people to get it, like to have a first breakthrough, right? Amazing. And they've commodified that
Yeah.
and made a spiritual language around it. And it's a pyramid scheme in itself. And I've known people who are super highly ranked in it globally and heard the truth of it. Right. But this just points to the same thing we began talking about, the weaponization and exploitation of vocabulary and concepts.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Right. And there is something really useful in there. There really is.
Yeah,
And
otherwise I wouldn't be,
it wouldn't keep going, right?
they
It
have a
delivers
tool
stuff.
that works.
They
The
do.
tool is there, but
Exactly.
what
They
is built around it is very
That's the issue.
same old
Yes.
power
And
tripping
so
stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
not meaning to dwell on them, but I'm just using it as an example of exactly
Mm.
one of the things we've been talking about. And then there's the breakthrough part. And when you're talking about the fear that I'm a horrible person, um, some of us have carried that. I've certainly carried that. Plenty of people who should carry that have never carried that, right? Right?
Fair.
And
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the another side of the, discussion, right? A big one, right? The people who we'd probably really like to see become self-reflective around who and what they are and how they behave and treat people are the ones who don't, right? So
Mhm.
unfortunately, a lot of the best people are the ones who are hobbled by thinking that they're not good, right? And so breaking that thing down, I think it doesn't just suddenly expose to me that I'm a wonderful person. It exposes to me that the things that I don't like or don't think are good are part of a spectrum of qualities and characteristics in myself. And I can right size the things about me that aren't good and no longer have them as impediments. And when that right sizing occurs, things open up. And when things open up, that can make the right sizing occur. It's cyclical, right?
Mhm.
And so that brings us to the love piece. For me, love is not a thing, nor is it an action. It's
Mhm.
not a noun and it's not a verb. It's a place. It's a space. And that may sound woo-woo, but for me, when I really try to articulate love, it's an experience, but it's an experience of spaciousness, but also it's charged somehow. Yeah, it's got some juice to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that so it's a space, it's a place to occupy, maybe vibrationally at the risk of sounding woo again. But it's contagious. Like when we go into that space or place, it's tangible to others. It can help them access that same space or place. And ideally, we can also have that inform our thought processes and actions. But it's a place, not a thing or a verb
Yeah.
for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. It's a I like to use intention and attention, you know. It's intending to put your attention. It's like here now. It's here now. Like love is what is making
Okay.
everything happen,
It-
but not love like we talk about like we usually use the word like noun or verb or heaven or the way that oh love your neighbor. It's it almost needs a different word.
Yeah, I mean, English, that you pointed out that it has there's different words for it in other languages, and I'm familiar
Yeah.
with this as well. But then in English, we have the word itself with qualifiers. Romantic love, for example, right? And then
Yeah.
there's agape, which is used in English, which I think is more toward the kind of love that you're describing as I understand
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it agape is a Native American word?
No, I think
Is that
it's
right? Is
Latin
it
or
Latin?
Greek, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Pretty sure. We could Google that in a split second. But I'm pretty sure that it's, like, part of our own, like, Western civilization lexicon. I'm almost positive.
Yeah, I don't think everyone's heard or used it, but it definitely is. Yeah, so that's your homework audience, look up agape.
Yeah, and it's a great word and a great concept and a great experience, right? It is more toward,
Yeah.
like, the transcendent love or transpersonal love. Again, we have the word
Mhm.
love with qualifiers. And so
Yeah.
agape for me is the one that's, like, closest to what I think we're talking about. And in Buddhism, there's the word bodhicitta, which
Mhm.
is I just used a non-English word, translates to loving kindness. And
Mhm.
again, it's a space, right? But what a part of what I like about this word, loving kindness, is that it implies a quality and it implies subsequent possible action.
Mhm.
You're being kind, right?
Mhm.
You have
Yeah.
kindness perfusing your thought processes and your actions. And so loving kindness for me captures it more than love. Love's too broad and blunt, too imprecise, too
Mhm.
subjective. Loving kindness to me is more precise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's an experience
Mhm.
that we
Yeah.
are. experiencing and that we're sharing and inviting others to be in with us as we are naturally sort of what is that neuro
Mirror.
imaging or whatever, mirror neurons. Yeah, yeah, yeah. As we be in that,
Yeah.
really kind, open, loving space.
Mm.
Um, and it's such a tough language just doesn't capture it because it is so visceral and all encompassing and when you realize it's you, then it's awe. Just filled you just can be filled with awe and humility and realizing that, you are everything, but you're absolutely nothing at all.
Yes.
Um,
And this is
yeah.
super important. This Trungpa Rinpoche talks about this as the grain of sand perspective.
Mhm.
Like when we land here, we get how immense everything is and that we are part of it. And then almost simultaneously the recognition that we're infinitesimal, right? We're like as tiny as it gets in the scheme of things, which is excellent for keeping our ego in perspective and
Yeah.
for treating others as valid equals. Yeah. Super important.
Yeah.
But
Well, that
the
consciousness is everything, right?
mm,
And when your attention is on your consciousness, on being consciousness,
yes.
then all that is within you as you
And
experience
and
all that
without,
is.
I mean, yeah,
And
there's
with
no,
it's yeah, and without you, you don't need
yeah,
to be here for that to be there.
this is the Beatles, Within You Without You. It's a great song. Like the deepest Beatle wrote it and it captures it. Like this song actually has, to an extent, in my view, and experience, the vibration that we're talking about. It was written from that perspective and it
Yeah.
vibrates that experience if you settle and tune into it. It's within you and without you. And so it's inside and it's outside. It's with you and it's also nothing to do with you at all. It's non-local and as right here as it can be. Sounds contradictory, but it's a non-conflicting contradiction. These things are simultaneously so. It's the non-dual view.
Yeah.
That's where all of the divisions and classifications and concepts are either erased or sort of relegated into some, corner where they're no longer applicable at all. And here we are. And
Yeah.
this keeps being it over and over and over again. It comes back to presence. Yeah.
Mm.
Where it all happens. Can't happen anywhere else. Right definition. And this is why the like ascension thing for me is an inward movement. It's an inward impulse. It's an inward exploration. It's inward practices. It's all in, and here,
Yeah.
here, here, which is the only place we can ever be anyway, right?
Yeah.
Till we,
Yeah.
that's the deal, right? You can astral travel all you want.
You still gotta be here.
Gotta come back or you're dead.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward, right? And so this whole thing of like of heaven and hell and going somewhere, getting somewhere, achieving something, ascending, being higher vibration, bullshit. It's all right here and right now. Always comes back to this. Always, always.
Yeah.
And
I like the subtlety when you use the word subtlety for the frequency of higher or whatever. It's the sensing the subtleties of things. And the
yes.
subtleties, because we're so, our experiences in this like quote tangible 3D, it's very gross. Like, and I mean that is like tangible gross,
Yeah.
not like gross. Yeah. So, and then, but to go inward, we have to learn how to sense the subtlety because we're so used to this gross experience that getting
Yeah.
down to this little the little emotions that we've, managed to shove somewhere when we were 3 years old that are sitting there, waiting to
Yeah.
be acknowledged and just like, "Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Mm.
we can process that," to just become more and more and more Kevin, is it fair to use the word clear? Because I feel like clear is also kind of a woo-woo word, like, "Oh, I'm clear, and, I cleared out all my stuff," which I think is bullshit too.
No, that's
Like, we're all we're the to me, the quote, "enlightenment" is being able to hold all of it as beautiful and true. And
simultaneously.
how are you walking through it?
Yeah.
Are you
That's
walking through it present, or are you checked out?
mhm. Are you
It's not
connected?
so much a
Are
judgment.
yeah. Are you here and connected, first of all, fundamentally to yourself, the inward peace, right? This is where the break is for virtually everybody until it isn't, right? Is that people are not with themselves. That's why the inward peace is necessary.
Yeah.
So if we actually go inside, the revulsion at going inside is that people don't want to encounter themselves,
Mhm,
whether their belief system is they're a terrible person or not.
mhm.
Whatever's in there is much more scary than remaining entrained into the outside, right? And
Yeah,
usually it's
yeah.
basically fear of the unknown. And once you get in there, you start discovering everything, all
It's
kinds of things.
yeah, and it's not so
The
bad.
heaven and the hell, it's all in here all the time, right? And
Yeah.
um and so yeah, I agree, like the word clear is it's toward something, but I'd say clarity rather than clear.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay,
Again,
clarity, yeah.
and a quality rather than a thing or a doing. It's a quality.
Yeah, quality of clarity.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
so interesting. Wait, when you were saying that, what came up for me was, like, the so much of the stuff, quote, I guess, breaking or falling apart or fracturing of reality, whatever, language you wanna put to it that's, like, feels so completely crazy right now. It's like all of that the projection that we have, what we're creating here with this is like, well, that's okay. Like, we're gonna make the outside so uncomfortable for you that you're gonna want to go inside because it's gonna be better in there than it is outside.
and it's
So we're like forcing ourselves inward. We'll have
we are
to.
we I mean we are. I mean, and this is the I forget which Buddhist teacher said the hope for Buddhism is in the West
Mm.
because the West is going to wear out the shoe of materialism faster, right? And I think we've got holes in the shoe right about now, like big gaping ones, right? There's no soul left. And I'm meaning that SOLE and SOUL
Yeah.
at the
And
same time. There's no soul left. The shit is worn
oh,
out now, right? And we're and
yeah.
we're like coming into uncomfortable contact with the rate and comprehensive quality of change. It's just on right now. It really is. And the piece around our anticipatory and collective anxiety with the change boils down to us taking a massive shit and complaining about the smell.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's
much it.
us. We did it. It's our thing. And we're upset that it's us, right? That's our discomfort with AI. That's really it, right? If we're, to me,
Yeah.
if honest about it. And so, at the risk of edging toward a little optimistic or positive view, I will I will say there's a great essay by one of my favorite thinkers in the AI space called Dario Amodei. Are you familiar with him? No?
No.
There's two minds in the AI space that I focus on more because to me they've stayed human. The stay human part. These guys are staying human. So it's Demis Hassabis and Dario Amodei. Dario Amodei is doing Anthropic, and Demis Hassabis, I believe, is working with Google.
Mhm.
And these are to my sense, intact, functioning, well-intentioned human beings. And Dario Amodei wrote a very interesting essay called Machines of Loving Grace,
Wow.
right? So right now, our collective terror is about the shit we're taking on the floor and complaining about the smell about. And we could be like, oh, actually, flowers are also available. Like we do have a decent side as humans that like wins out occasionally at least. And we could look at that side of things more. So I pay attention to these guys in part because they do maintain some degree of optimism in the fray, right? And
Mhm.
they're perched right at the like bleeding cutting edge of the singularity. And because it is terrifying, existentially terrifying and disorienting, I'm opting as much as possible toward, a positive end of the spectrum perspective and experience at where I can, right? It's not easy, but if we're going to select, I'd suggest selecting that direction is at least more comfortable, if not more functional. And I think probably more functional also. And what we're looking at right now is all the shit that we're talking about. If we put this into the realm of consciousness exploration, physics, quantum mechanics, um, neuroscience, neurobiology, neurochemistry, all of the things that are going to allow us to potentially crack what consciousness is and who we actually are. We are perched on the edge of cracking so many of these questions in a way humanity never has been. Never. It's truly remarkable. Like every week right now, there's a list of, there's a repository of unsolved, extremely difficult mathematical problems that humanity has been working at for centuries. They are falling by the week now.
Wow.
By the week, right? This is part of the AI thing that isn't getting put out into the public sphere. There's unbelievable stuff happening at frontier understanding of reality, right? Really, of
Mhm.
reality and consciousness. And this is exciting. Like when I can
Yeah.
tune into this, it's a lot more comfortable and a lot more, hopeful, actually. And I don't usually advocate for those things because I'm a dick. I don't know, because it's like it's just I'd say it's being a realist, but like, people would
Yeah.
say it's pessimistic, but I'm very cautious to be like hopeful and optimistic about things. It can lead us astray every bit as much as being pessimistic can.
Yeah.
But overall, if we have to choose between heaven and hell, which is our moment to moment choice all the time, I'm going to go a little more toward the light if possible. If
Yeah.
possible, realistically, feet on the ground, inward motion still engaged, but like there's some amazing stuff happening. There really is. We're going to have a window into things that we've been trying to figure out since we existed. And it's
Yeah.
coming fast, soon, really soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. There's this point where religion, so to speak, or spirituality meets science, and
Yeah.
it's like,
We're, it's converging like super tightly right now and really fast, like everything
yeah.
else. Yeah.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
what I do think and we, talked about this in previous episodes, but the Saturn Neptune conjunction at 0 Aries is like, it's a world reset point, and that doesn't mean somebody's going to hit the red button and the world's reset on that day, but like to me, it's a crossover point, where
Mm.
we start really realizing some
Yeah.
things, and it may feel slower for some of us than we'd like it to be,
Yeah.
but that is now the momentum is going to speed up royally in that direction, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And for the change to occur, I mean, change could happen through like break, like the red button thing you're talking about, or
good,
it can
yeah.
happen through everything going into flux, right? And
Mhm,
I think that
mhm.
I think right now we're in that state of flux, and it freaks people out. It's incredibly uncomfortable and disorienting, but it's flux. It's the time
Yeah.
between what we've been for our entire history and what we're about to become. And it's not
Yeah.
an on-off switch, it's a process, but the
It's a
flux is what
process.
enables all of
Yes.
it.
And this is so much, as coaches, this is what we work with, right? And it's like when
Yes.
someone is shifting something about who they are that is
Mm,
no longer working in their life, there is this period between who they've been and who
mm,
it is they desire to be that you can't like speed up. Like there's you have to allow it to do you
mm.
and stay open and do just you let it do you. It's the best way I can.
Yeah,
It's like the
basically.
the caterpillar is not really there in the chrysalis, and neither is the butterfly. So you
Er,
just gotta wait for the process to do what it does.
it's molten flux. And
It's molten,
I
yeah.
think that there's things that, there are sort of enzymes for the process, they're catalysts, but it will still only proceed at the pace it can. We do not have control of it. And that's the
Yeah.
hardest part for most people. And it's that thing in between, that space between, that is so uncomfortable and challenging. And we're collectively
And
in that right now. Yeah.
yeah, it invites you to go inward. It
Yes.
invites you to find the stable point,
Hmm.
which is inside. And both Kevin and I can tell you, like, it's an unnerving process to go in and come out and go in and come out. But man, is it worth it?
So worth it.
It's so worth it.
Yeah.
It's the true action of spirituality. It's like, what else are you here for?
Mm. Who's
It's not
having
to
the
make
experience?
money. That's not
Like,
it.
don't you want to know who's having the experience? Right? Like,
Yeah.
who's
What's
having
going
the,
on here?
yeah,
Yeah. Who's
it's,
running this algorithm?
yeah,
We are an AI experiment. We're just recreating it.
yeah.
You know?
Well, we're recreating that whole thing outside of ourselves. Like, again, it's us creating the drama. Like, we're
Yeah.
making it, the whole thing. The data
Yeah.
centers, the energy generation, the debates about it, the pissing contests, the billionaires becoming obscenely wealthy. Like, this is all us. That's what's so
Yeah.
uncomfortable. It's
And that's
us.
the cosmic joke, right, Kevin, is that
Yes.
we're
100%.
spending all this time looking in the mirror going, "Oh my god,
Yeah,
look
exactly. Exactly.
at that."
And it's
And then
like,
when you realize like, "Oh wait, I'm looking at
it's,
myself."
yeah, like I'm the asshole.
I'm
And
the asshole.
and
I'm
I'm
what
the
I'm afraid
angel.
of.
I'm the angel as well. Like, it's all us. It's all
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
So I wanna, between the both of us, we have enough, I think, resources to maybe make some recommendations, but, for people who are listening to this and they're like, "I don't maybe I know or wanna know what you're talking about, but, like, what does that mean?" What does it mean to go inside and find that how do I find that center where I'm not freaking
Mm,
out? So what do you think? What things can we recommend? I know, right? It's such an individual journey.
that's the question, right? Like, like we can throw out like the standard offerings of generalized suggestions, but it's so particular. Every person has their own way of engaging with themselves and with reality. And so, unless I really know the person, it's hard for me to make a recommendation. So it comes back to general stuff. Um, the first thing that comes to mind is nature is the greatest healer, plain and simple. And if you're not connected to nature, you might want to try it or get back to it, whatever it is, because so much of the time, just going into as natural an environment as is available and being quiet, shit just settles down. Things get right sized. Like, we become connected to something. We become um, less rigid, less fixated to our perspective because our attention softens and expands. and the natural harmonic energy of things. And I don't mean that woo woo, but literal.
Mhm.
We're part of it. We emerge from it. We can never depart it except in our like crazy conceptual consciousness. And so for me, this is the ultimate practice is literally to go sit down and be quiet in a really natural place. That's number one. Then there's all the
Yeah.
technique and meditations and books and exercise and blah, blah, blah. There's endless, endless, endless methods. Everybody has to find their flavor. But the universal one to me is solely nature. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Nature is one of those things that I think the energy of nature it slowly seeps into you the longer you're there, the more
Yep.
unplugged you are. Like, that's the other thing, unplug.
Yes.
A barrage of information that we get on any moment-to-moment basis is unbelievable.
Yes. It's inhumane.
Um,
It's actually
it's
inhumane.
inhumane, and actually, just to illustrate that, I have a student who did a research study on the exposure on TikTok to youth. And as you scroll through TikTok with, I think, don't quote me on this. I can include her dissertation down below, but something like within I think 1 minute you get exposure to like over 800 different personalities, positions, and ideas. Like that's literally like torture
Yeah.
to our brain and our bodies, our nervous system.
Yeah.
So unplug, and it's going to be different for everybody. For me, nature definitely 3-day minimum for me.
Mm,
I need to camp 3 days and not talk to anybody before anything starts shifting.
mm.
And those 3 days are like, I'm so bored. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can just watch your mind go absolutely ape shit. And
Yes.
then at the end of 3 days for me, maybe 7 for some people or 24 hours, who knows? But for me, it's generally around 3 to 4 days. And then when I hit 7, a whole other thing happens.
Yeah.
And then in about 10 days, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm
Yeah.
time to like
All
try to
done.
integrate back in reality.
Yes. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's, if you don't have enough time to go and do like the full immersion, even just going for an hour and sitting there without your phone in front of a lake, in front of the ocean, in the forest, whatever's accessible to you, right? But prioritizing this, I think, really matters. It is the ultimate healer. Ultimate, ultimate. And
Yeah.
and another thing that was occurring to me as you were speaking is uh be intentionally uncomfortable. Do something because we're almost everyone is in a constant state of discomfort right now, right? Like that's been the game forever. That's why the spiritual paths have generated the views and practices they have, is to address this fundamental discomfort. What's the quote? All of man's problems are the result of him not being able to be alone in a room and do nothing,
Mm.
right? So, so since you're always uncomfortable, how about deciding how you're going to be uncomfortable? Like have some volition in your experience and make a decision to do something that makes you uncomfortable. That can be fasting for 24 hours. Put
Mm.
yourself into a different state as an organism and see what happens. It's totally psychoactive, right? You're going to have the whole process very predictably. First hours, you're not usually hungry at this time of day, but you're fasting, so you're hungry, right? Like totally ridiculous. But this is the game. This is the game. And then you actually become hungry and realize, oh, hunger isn't here. It's down here. It's a physical experience. And my body is going through something and communicating a whole lot of signals to me. This connects us inward. This is an inward motion again, right?
Mhm.
And then as our blood sugar shifts and various processes in our body unfold, we go through a series of metabolic processes. Our organs wake up and do various things like scientifically demonstrated across a 24-hour span. And there's an experience to all of this, and all of it is of benefit. All of it is potentially insight yielding. So that's just an example of like, how do you access here and now? Interrupt your constant momentum of rubbish, of habits, right?
And you know my suggestion, go throw yourself out of an airplane. That'll wake you up
Yeah,
real quick.
yeah, exactly. No, but it's yeah. I mean, but literally, like, go do something that shakes your shit up. So Alex
Mhm.
Honnold, the climber, who did Free Solo, he was just here in Taiwan and climbed the
Yeah.
one. I think some people in America saw it, yeah. But
Yeah,
that
it's on
built
Netflix.
is like that building to be next to it. It's mind-boggling. It's really tall and it's really beautiful in its way. Um, and uh, and he climbed it with no protection, right? 1,667 feet, I think it is, like
Mm.
all the way to the very top. And I love what he says about facing death and fear, which is basically like, if you do that on occasion, then it's hard to get real wound up about a lot of stuff. It right sizes things. So I don't have your penchant for throwing myself out of airplanes, but I have own, my own versions of that, right? And we talk about like the interruption of things, like um, yeah, near death experiences. I advocate for them
Yeah.
highly. I don't
Yeah.
recommend like causing real ones, but if you have them, there's nothing like it for getting right here, right now, and everything getting right sized. And
I
so,
think this is why people do think like take
100%
free
it is.
soloing
It's absolutely,
or riding motorcycles really
of course.
fast or
Of
yeah.
course. It makes you present. It actually reconnects you to yourself, right? And especially in the West, like we do that in a like hyper adrenalized way. Like that's the way we go about it in the West. But and if that works for you, great. But there's plenty of other ways to introduce discontinuity. I mean, drugs do it, the right drugs do it,
Mhm.
like potentially very beneficially. All for it. Dancing works for a whole lot of people. Like that's a great access point. One of my closest friends, that's his jam. He's like 82. His mind and his energy is like an 18-year-old. That's that's where he found his thing, right? People have to find their thing. That's his jam. He comes to life, gets really, really, really present and alive
Oh.
through that.
Yeah, and if you're trying to see where do I start and you're feeling like I don't know, grab a coach. Grab a coach.
Yep. If
Call
you
me,
Here's
call
the thing.
Kevin.
Yeah, if you have, and yeah, and this is, I appreciate the advertising there, and 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 I'm genuinely like not looking for clients, and I love it when the right clients show up, but that's really a quite particular thing. It's all chemistry. Like I would rather
Mhm.
not coach and not spend the time and energy and not have the money, um, than coach someone where there isn't like really good chemistry. That's
That comes
me.
back to that comes back to our dialogue before this show
Yeah.
started.
And
But,
that's and
okay.
that's and that's really where I'm at, right? And
Yeah.
I'm single and I don't have dependents, and I've kept a very small footprint all over the world. I have everything that I need. I have more than I need. And so I have the luxury of making that choice, but um also it's still not a choice that most people are voluntarily going to make because of how we're entrained around material grasping and wealth and everything else. But for me, really, the experience, like it's my life force, it's my time, it's my energy. Like I'd rather be doing nothing than spending it in like a jagged or like bouncy, non-fruitful engagement with another human being of any kind.
Mm. Mhm.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
nothing is better. Doing nothing is better. And
Yeah, so you're really speaking to being in alignment with what's true for you, what's
yeah,
meaningful for you, what's
yeah,
fruitful for you, yeah.
yeah. And that's part of my inward movement, my commitment to the inward movement perspective. Very engaged. In case you haven't noticed, I'm fairly passionate about things and have a fair bit of energy. And I'm a really physical person. I'm out exercising, pretty much every day. That's part of my refuge. That's part of how I metabolize all the shit we're going through together and my individual version of it. And I go to the sea and hiking multiple times a week. It's my medicine. It's my refuge.
Mm.
It's my laboratory. All of that. And if people are reaching the point of discomfort where they are actually willing to engage a coach, fantastic. I'm super happy for you. Maybe I'm that person, maybe I'm not. Doesn't matter to me at all. Although I love having great engagements, that's exciting. Like I can't pretend I don't really enjoy that. It's my vocation, but also happy to not do it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I get
and
that.
but if you're to the point of discomfort, like where it's so unbearable that you want to engage someone, congratulations. I'm happy for you because
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
actually
for
moving,
real.
being alive. You're actually potentially unlearning, deprogramming, and coming to life.
Yeah, yeah. This is why people ask like, "Oh, do you just love the adrenaline rush of skydiving?" And I think most skydivers, having been around them for almost 10 years, would say, you know, we're it's not that. It's that for, 60 to 120 seconds, I don't have to think about anything else.
It's all out the window. You can't think of anything else. Like your body
Yeah,
overwhelms you with the cues that get you right here because there's mortal threat. Like
there's a
your
mortal
your
threat, yeah.
your whole system literally takes your thinking mind offline.
Mhm.
You don't have the luxury. And the thing is, that can be the state you're in voluntarily a lot of the time.
Yeah. 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 I have a whole other stories I'm not gonna go into because 'cause we're like an hour and a quarter now. This we could just keep going for another hour probably.
This is how we get. Yeah, for everyone watching, this is what happens when Grace and I talk.
Yeah, we
We
just
go
keep
off.
going, get
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
I think for me, if I was gonna leave folks with anything that are kind of like, "Well, what do I do for this inward thing? What does
Mhm.
that look like or feel like to me?" Yes, it is so much a personal journey, but I would ask, like, to your point, Kevin, this sort of energy expenditure. I have a coach that calls it do an energy audit. Where
Mm.
are you putting your energy? Where is your intention and where is your attention? And what do you need to align there? Do you need to shift your intention or, do you need to shift your attention to get in alignment with your intention? Like, are you doom scrolling, for an hour a day when you could be sitting by the river with your feet in the water and recharging? Like even just starting there will begin and the intention is so big. Like if your intention is to really start to do that kind of work with yourself, like it'll come to you.
Mhm.
Just open up, have that intention, and start putting your attention on the things that recharge you, that
Yeah.
clear you out, that give you space.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But definitely unplug. It is not your phone.
Yeah. It's oh my god. Yeah, it really, like, it is, like, yeah. If we have to talk about heaven and hell, this would be the closest approximation to the latter.
I know,
Really.
right?
It's just it's
Yeah.
madness. It's madness.
Yeah, it is.
One thing I wanna throw in about that, and I think people talk about it some, but I think not enough. Every single thing we're looking at on here has been engineered by absolute top flight addiction specialists to get you entrained. You're worried about AI? You're already captured. I mean, this is the other thing. The merge of man, human, and machine.
Yeah.
We're signing up to it
Yeah.
every day. We're in the middle of it right now. We're merged with machines to talk to each other. This is the truth, right? We're already cyborgs. A major part of
Yeah.
our nervous system is already farmed out to a machine. It's already outside of our physical body. This
Yeah.
is
And if you think that you're not addicted, set it down for 24 hours and see what happens. Or just remove Instagram, remove TikTok, remove whatever your addiction is from your phone for 24 hours, and you'll see
yeah.
there is a physical response.
Yes. There is.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking to me that we are to the point where we need to say to people something that basic.
Mm,
It's heartbreaking. Really, right?
yeah.
That's sad. It's so much harder now. Like, you and I are old enough to remember when these things didn't exist, to have formed without them, and I'm massively grateful for this fact.
Yeah.
And the fact that people are that, attached to their device, as I am. I can't pretend I'm not a cyborg myself, because I am. It's like I'm embarrassed at times when I catch myself being as entrained as I am, and then I realize, yeah, this is the game. This
Yeah.
is really the game. So I'd say that, yeah, number one, switch off. Natural setting, great. Whatever resources appeal to you, whether it's with your body, with your mind, whatever it is, and connect with
And
other humans.
yes, connect with other humans
Really, say human.
authentically.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, touch each other. Tell the truth.
Yeah. And just I have to say, like, the addiction to the phone, it's just it's another demonstration, external demonstration of being addicted to our mind.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you can put down the phone, you'll get a sense of the gap, between having to like be compulsive about something and having the freedom
Mhm.
to like have your own mind, right? And that it's the same thing when you free yourself from being addicted to your thoughts. You
Yes.
get the same kind of freedom at a different level and a different
Yep.
kind of experience.
Yeah. This is the like top level of the addiction and compulsion to
Yeah.
conceptual thinking, and the pace and momentum that it has. Like, you get rid of that and you're left with what's happening anyway, which is that same rigmarole,
Same thing.
right? Actually. And and then developing a relationship with that. I mean, again, like, some people don't want to be bothered with mindfulness, for lack of a better word. But that's one of the big entry points.
I'm convinced that it's simply for a lack of experience on what it's like to
Mm,
not be addicted to that, to be in the true space of presence right here, right now with everything. If people could feel that, which is the credit I give the Landmark Forum because they do offer that moment,
yes.
um, that then all of a sudden there's a realization that, oh, the reality I live in is manufactured
Mhm.
and I could live in a different one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
And
and
I also have to say, Kevin, like, it's super easy, I think, to be like, "Oh, yeah, we're giving you all this advice, and we live like that." We don't freaking live like this all the time. We're mostly doing our, ridiculous thing like everybody else, but the only difference is that we know that possibility, we know that space, and it go in and out, and
yes.
I've had enough near-death experiences that I'm okay checking out. Like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be just fine.
But that said, each time you are confronted with it, it's a brand new experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you
Oh,
were
yeah.
you
Yeah.
jump out of a plane, that's what you're facing, right? And the thing is
Mm-hmm.
that's your whole system overwhelming your conceptual capability. It puts this in its place. It right sizes the discursive mind, right? And me too. Lots of near death experiences that have like really profoundly informed who I am, how I live, the whole thing. And I forget those lessons daily. And get, and get, and get
And get worked up about something.
yeah, get worked up about things, get swept up in mental momentum, get petty, whatever it is, right? And then it's just a matter of like turnaround time. Like, how rapidly can I recognize I'm being an asshole? How rapidly can I recognize that I'm just caught up in momentum and making up stories instead of being here, right? It's constant. The work is constant. That's why they call it a practice. It's
Mm-hmm.
a practice.
And there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to get.
Nope.
It's just the moment of being here. And even if you have that for 30 seconds a day, it's monumentally impactful to your
Yes.
quality of life.
And your well-being, your health. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's massively, you want to have like more well-being and health. The path is out of your thinking mind, full stop,
Mm-hmm.
into your body, out of the momentum, out of the phone, all of it. You want to stay young? That's how. Want to stay well? That's how. And yeah, there's like the things that we're saying right now, like I just got like acutely aware and self-conscious of like what a like heap of cliched bullshit we've just spewed for a while, right? And
Totally.
and,
Yeah.
and the thing is that like that's true, and it's also completely not true. And the funny thing is that like when we're in the experience of the more subtle inward things that we're talking about, that reality is to me much more real, right?
100%. Yeah,
Everything's
it's real.
it's capital R real, right?
Yeah.
And and then when I'm not in that perspective, it's cliched bullshit. But that
Yeah.
I also have now a recollection of, oh, well, I have a different relationship with this material. It can actually be the place that I'm in right here. It can be my lived experience. And then the whole cycle continues, right? But
Yeah.
I'm just very aware of like how absurd a lot of the things that we are saying sound without an experiential engagement with the things we're talking about.
Yeah.
There's really two different worlds right
Yeah.
here. Time they're like this.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. On that note,
You can join this crazy reality if you want to. I recommend it highly, but it is really like it's ascension is an inward motion and stay
beautiful.
things that I would say overall.
Yeah. Yeah. So move inward is the invitation. Thank you, Kevin.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you. It's always really fun to chat with you.
I
Yeah.
know. I love it. Thank you
Mm,
so much for being here.
mm. Again, my pleasure. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right, everybody, that's our episode for today. And if there's one phrase I'm taking from this conversation, it's this: Ascension is an inward movement, not up and out, and not a performance or a higher vibration badge of honor, just a deeper return to presence, to self, and to what is real. Kevin and I also talked about how hard this can be in a world designed to keep you distracted, activated, and plugged into the internet. So if you're feeling the collective intensity right now, you are not alone, and this is your reminder. It is okay to simplify. It's okay to unplug for a little while, and it's okay to choose practices that bring you back to center for just a small part of your day. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love to hear from you. What part landed the most? What does going inward look like for you in your life? And if you want to go deeper with this work, come join us on Patreon. That's where I share bonus content, behind the scenes reflections, and practices for intuitive development and staying grounded as everything dramatically shifts. So thanks for listening, and until next time, unplug and reconnect.
In a world that's shifting, the veil grows thin. Truth is whispering deep within. Old ways fading, new light calls. We rise together, soul